Hello, everybody. Just wanted to welcome you guys to today's webinar. I'm going to let David Newman, who's our co-host, explain to you guys kind of how to use the webinar software and the process of all this, and then we'll get going, okay? So, welcome, David Newman.
Hi, guys. I don't know how many of you have used webinar software before, but it's not too hard. Basically, everyone's been put into listen-only mode, so the only people that will be talking is David and myself. What we really need from you guys is any questions that you have, and what you do is should be on the right-hand side of your screen, right down near the bottom there'll be a question box. So what you need to do, if you write a question in there, and you'll have a choice on where to send the chat to, it's like a little chat box, and just do it as a send question to staff, and that way it'll come up in a separate box for us so that we can then get to those questions and answer them. And we'll get through all of the questions, so if you're not sure of anything, put it in, whether it be on GBBG or preservation of wealth or anything that you can think of. So I'll go back to David and he can start.
Okay, before we really get rolling, I still want to kind of hang out for about another minute or so and let people, I don't know why, it seems like every single time we do these webinars, it takes about 4 or 5 minutes for people to start really rolling in. So we have a lot of people registered for this one, but we don't have nearly the number signed into the webinar that we have registered. So, but it always seems like we get about 5 or 10 minutes into the webinar, and then all of a sudden here comes all the viewers. So I don't want to have people missing out. So, and just to add to what David Newman said, this is a very informal thing. We don't have like a scripted pitch we're going to show you. It's not like some sales thing. We're trying to just, push something down your throats or whatever. So, and actually, before we get going, if somebody would mind just chatting in or typing into the question box, that you can hear us or something. I always like to confirm that these things are working before we get going. Last thing what I want to do is be sitting there talking to air. So if you guys can hear us, just somebody type into the question box that you can hear us. Okay, good. I got a couple of responses, so at least we know it's working. Okay, so I guess it's 5 after. We've got quite a few people in now, so hopefully we'll get some more in as we get going. But I'll kind of outline the topic so that you guys know what we're going to cover, and then because I've had every one of these webinars that we do, we ask people to give us some feedback and send emails to the admin and let us know what they think about them and any suggestions of ways that we can make the webinars better. Last couple webinars we've had, a few people have emailed and said, hey, I didn't know you were going to cover a certain topic, so I left the webinar because I had to go do something or whatever. So I want to let you guys kind of know the order that we'll discuss things. And if you've got something you need to handle, you can always just, step away from the computer or whatever and just kind of keep your ear open for when we get to whatever topic you're really interested in. If you're here for a particular topic or if you're here for the whole thing, then great. We schedule these webinars for 2 hours because we have a lot of stuff to cover. Just to let you guys know, we are working on building some videos and some audio files, some downloads, and some presentations and stuff, and some FAQ pages, some fact pages for the websites. What we're doing is we're taking questions from these webinars, and we're kind of trying to get a little bit more scripted and a little bit better at presenting this with each of these webinars as we learn what people didn't know, or what when we get feedback from people saying, oh, I see this in a different light now because you said blah, blah, blah. So we're trying to record that stuff down so that we can make some good FAQ pages and some education information videos for the website and stuff like that, so that we're hoping before too long people don't have to come sit in on 2-hour videos to catch everything. They can just go at their own pace and watch videos and download audio files and presentations and whatnot. But we scheduled these for 2 hours for now because we just have so many topics to cover, and we want to make sure we answer. It seems like every one of these webinars we've done, we've just had more and more different types of questions coming in, and we want to make sure we get to all those. So here's the order we're going to go in. First, I'm going to talk about GBBG as an organization. What is GBBG? Who are we? What does GBBG stand for? And then also, one thing that a lot of people have given us feedback about was, in the last few webinars, we've talked about how GBBG is not an MLM or a network marketing company, and a lot of people didn't understand that before, and so we've had a lot of positive feedback from that, so I'm going to cover that. I'm going to discuss the difference between GBBG and like a standard MLM or network marketing company and what makes us different from that. Then we're going to talk about the ways GBBG is already earning revenue that's going to be shared with the members, and then ways that we are going to be earning revenue in the future. We'll talk about each of the different earning sources that are online already, such as the Bitfeud and I Want a Car sites and whatnot. And then we're going to probably spend most of the last half of the webinar talking about the latest earning source that's come out, because it's a pretty big topic. It's got a lot of people's interest right now. There's tons of people jumping into that opportunity, and so a lot of people already making money with it. I have personally, even though I'm not usually a big fan of these types of things. I've personally joined, and I've actually myself made uh, right about $300, $400 personally. I know GBBG has in 7 days generated nearly $1,000 from this. And I think even David Newman, you've made money from this too, haven't you?
Yep, yeah, and some of my referrals have as well. So,
Okay. So there's
um,
people already making money on it, and I know we have a lot of interest. So we'll probably spend the last half of this whole entire webinar, or the great portion of the last half of the webinar, focusing specifically on that particular opportunity, just because it's got a lot of interest right now. So let's just go ahead. We've kind of, I've been trying to ramble a little bit just to let stragglers get in, and we've had a few stragglers come in. So welcome everybody into the webinar, just to catch everybody up. If you want to ask questions, there's a little questions box in the webinar software. Open that questions box, type your questions in, and feel free, guys, as we're doing this webinar, to go ahead and type in your questions. Even though we're going to do a little presentation and then we'll do Q&A, but go ahead and type your questions as you have them, as you're thinking of them, because that way when we go into Q&A, we can just roll right into it and start reading them off and answering them. So as you have questions, or even if you already have questions, go ahead and type them up in the questions box, or be jotting them down as we're going, so that we can get to those questions as smoothly and efficiently as possible when we get to the Q&A section. So let's go ahead and roll into it right now. One of the biggest things that a lot of people have been asking, and a lot of the feedback we've received from these webinars, is how many people were really, I guess, informed when we discussed GBBG, as far as what is GBBG and what's the structure of this company. I guess a lot of people kind of had that aha moment from that. So I'm going to talk about that first. GBBG started out a long time ago, and I was actually part of it myself. I'm a developer. I've been developing software for, well, I guess since the mid to late 80s. I've been working on all kinds of different things. I started out with BASIC and moved into Fortran and COBOL, and the story. You've probably heard guys say it before. Started out with my Commodore VIC-20 and worked all the way until today. So I've been building software for a long, long time, and I've got over 20 years experience building software for like multi-level marketing companies and online marketing companies, network marketing companies, etc. So I've got a lot of experience in that. I've seen a whole lot of stuff. So through my career as a software engineer, I became part of GBBG, which originally was just a loose, like an underground club. It wasn't so secretive and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was pretty secretive in some parts, but, it wasn't like we were, designing things that we didn't want the government to know about or anything like that. It was basically just a club. Bunch of software engineers who, I might be working on a sideline project and I wanted to toss it over to some people who had really smart brains and could diagnose things or help me figure things out. And I didn't want to make it a public thing, so I would toss it to my friends in GBBG and they would answer it, and I would do the same thing for them. So we were kind of like just a little club of people for a long, long time. But slowly but surely, some of these products and some of these side projects became things that we started, watching people develop and take live and turn into money makers over the years. And we started thinking, wait a minute, we're kind of a pretty close-knit group of people. Why don't we turn that into a company and take some of these products live ourselves and make money from it? And so long story short, the club slowly became a business, and about a year and a half ago, it really formally became a business. We actually incorporated it, and we've been growing it. And we've had a few letdowns and a few, I guess, miscalculations on what we thought would happen. When we first launched GBBG, we thought, because of the way we designed it, with this matrix idea and stuff, we thought we'd have just tons and tons of capital flowing in, and we'd be way further along than we are now. You've all read the webinars, the blog posts, so I'm sure you're aware of, what was planned in the beginning and where we are now. And of course, obviously, without millions of dollars flooding in, we couldn't develop all the products and stuff that we were wanting to. And so some people have taken their products and gone elsewhere to seek other funding and stuff, and that's fine, because, we want everyone to succeed. But the core projects that we've kept within ourselves, especially the stuff that stays most loyal to GBBG, we're keeping that inside, and we're working to develop. And we have a really cool major project coming out in April that we'll be talking about and raising funds for, etc. So you'll see more and more things happening. But essentially, GBBG, the letters stand for Global Blockchain Believers Group. That wasn't the original name of the club. It was a different name, and I'll keep that private just because they might still want to use that in the future for something else that they want to do. We've rebranded it in the last few years to Global Blockchain Believers because, it lines up with our corporate mission as an organization. We are an organization of people who believe in blockchain. I understand that a lot of our core marketing and products and focus right now are based around Bitcoin. Obviously, if you look at the internet, almost everybody understands blockchain through the principle of Bitcoin or e-currencies like Dogecoin and stuff like that, Litecoin, Feathercoin, whatever. But the true core value, I guess, or core protocol that we're aligning ourselves with is blockchain. We feel like blockchain is one of the most amazing, if not the most amazing protocol inventions in the last 20 years. I remember when MIME came out and email started back in the, well, it started way before me. It started back in the 60s, and then, through the 70s and 80s, it started to become mature. And by the mid 90s, email was something people were actually using. General users were using it. I remember when TCP/IP came out, and you didn't have to use IP addresses and huge, long message board type of seeks to try to find websites. You could just type in a name and, yahoo.com, and you were on Yahoo's homepage. So, TCP/IP revolutionized how people used the internet that had been around for 20 or 30 years already. So, these types of protocols come around once in a very, very, very great while. As a matter of fact, in my mind, I don't know of any major protocols that have been developed in the last 30 years other than MIME and TCP/IP that have actually revolutionized the globe. MIME changed the entire world. It actually hurt the postal services of every single government on the planet, because most postal services before email actually delivered letters. People would write letters to each other. Businesses would send letters, and things were actually mailed. And now they're not. Now people send an email, and matter of fact, now we don't even email. We go straight to Skype and Twitter and things like that, or text message or whatever. So messaging and sending information back and forth has become so much faster because of MIME. And it revolutionized an entire industry, or many, many industries. And I remember TCP/IP came out, and that revolutionized the world. We wouldn't have the internet. We wouldn't have peer-to-peer technologies. We wouldn't have several of the things that we have today, even cellular communications and cable television communications and things like that. So many of things like that were revolutionized because of the standards, the protocols that TCP/IP brought to the world. It's been a long time since a protocol that would affect the entire globe came out. As a matter of fact, there may be some others that I can't think of, but I really think the last one was TCP/IP that had a global impact until blockchain. Blockchain came out in 2009. It was a geek tool. It was kind of being tested and played with for a while. It hasn't really hit mainstream until Bitcoin, which Bitcoin came out with blockchain in 2009, but it's been developing over the last few years, and now it's a pretty robust system. It's still way in its infancy, has a long ways to go before it's mature and something that people all around the globe can use dependently. But if you really listen to people who know what they're talking about when it comes to technology and software development and techie people, everyone has to admit blockchain is the next protocol that's going to revolutionize the world. It's going to change so many things about how we do so many things in this world that we haven't even thought about all the ways it's going to change things. I can see in 10 years from now, the entire legal industry, the entire entertainment industry, books, music, videos, video games, movies, how you buy and sell property, how you buy and sell houses, how businesses are bought and sold, how stock is bought and sold, commodities are traded, currencies are exchanged, payments are delivered around the world. I mean, there are so many industries that can be changed. Honestly, I even think 10, 15 years from now, people who live in countries that are democracies or where you vote for your politician, we will use a system built on blockchain in order to cast our votes, because it's a system that can be undeniably verified. That's the amazing part of blockchain. It can be undeniably verified. So therefore, I even see it revolutionizing government itself, how we vote for politicians and stuff. There's so many things that are going to happen in the next 10, 15 years. The entire globe is going to change because of blockchain. So that's what GBBG is. We are an organization of software engineers that believe in blockchain. And because of that, as an organization, we want to work on developing products that work on blockchain. Now, that doesn't mean we will always work on products that are related to Bitcoin. We will work on products that are related to blockchain. That means we might work on products that have to do with movie distribution, or the protection of downloads of music, or encrypting files that are sent, between two parties on the web, or verifying that somebody who invented something, that their patent is their patent, and that product belongs to that person until they transfer it to the person who buys it, or whatever. There's so many different products that are going to come out in the next 10 or 15 years related to blockchain, and GBBG is going to be involved in many of those, because we are a core group of very, very blockchain-oriented engineers, and so we plan to work on that. So what is GBBG as a company? A lot of people have asked, a lot of people don't understand. I guess that's the best way to put it, is people just don't get what is this whole matrix thing about? I've actually had people ask me directly, is it an MLM? Is it a network marketing company? And my answer is, well, yeah, kind of, but not really. Because when you look at GBBG, it's not a network marketing company or an MLM because of one major reason. You can be in the matrix absolutely free and still earn money forever, absolutely free. And there's no MLM I've ever heard of in my life that's structured like that. So, if you think about the traditional network marketing company or MLM company, the way that they work is they have a product that they sell, and they enroll people into their downline or their matrix, however it's structured, whether it's a binary or a, breakaway or, I don't know, 3x3, 8x7, whatever, 5x5. I mean, there's so many different structures out there, millions of different structures in MLM companies. But essentially what they do is they make a product and they sell it to the people in their matrix. My job, if I'm in that company, is to enroll and to buy the product of this company. So let's say it's vitamins. So I buy their vitamins and I take my vitamins, and then I go tell my friends and relatives and neighbors and everybody I meet about vitamins, and I try to get them to sign up and buy vitamins, and if they buy their vitamins, then I get paid. So that's how the traditional MLM works. And the entire company is 100% dependent upon the people in the organization buying that product. So if it's a vitamin MLM, if everybody in that whole entire downline of that organization stops buying vitamins, that company goes out of business because they are entirely dependent upon that entire matrix of people buying their product. That's not GBBG. GBBG is so far removed from that, it's incredible. GBBG has absolutely zero dependency whatsoever upon its matrix as to whether or not it survives as a business. As a matter of fact, there's not a single person that has to join GBBG and ever spend a single penny and be involved in the matrix and earn money. So if GBBG is not dependent upon its membership to earn money, how does it earn money? Well, we'll talk about that here in a few minutes, but I want to make sure people understand that it's not an MLM, it's not a network marketing company in the traditional sense of the word, because you can actually sign up for free and you're in the matrix. You can go earn points in various places throughout our network, and there'll be many, many more of them coming in the future for free, and you can still make money on your points that you earn. Whether or not you've ever spent a single penny ever, you'll still be able to earn money. So that's not a traditional MLM or network marketing company in any sense of the word, because there's no dependency upon that matrix to generate revenue for the business. So a lot of people, when they're talking to me and we finally get to that point of the discussion, they're like, okay, well, if you're not dependent upon the people in your matrix in order to survive, how will you survive? Well, the entire philosophy of GBBG is to build products around blockchain that provide income for the business, revenue for the business, and then, of course, we'll share a portion of those revenues with the members of our matrix in exchange for having a membership of people that we can introduce more and more products to, and it will help us promote those products when they come out. So that's why we have the matrix. We want people to be there standing in line in the ready and in the know of when GBBG is about to launch another product so that they can go take it to the world. That's our marketing plan. Instead of us paying, television stations, radio stations, and billboard companies to tell people about our products, we want to have hundreds and thousands and millions of people who aren't spending any money, but they're getting paid themselves for telling the world about our products. So that's essentially how it works. So how do we generate revenue? Well, let me talk about a few ways that we are already generating revenue, how the company is already making money completely independent of its membership. The first one is GBBG Wear. We launched GBBG Wear back in November of last year, and it's been going very well ever since its launch. Essentially what GBBG Wear is it's a global software development and IT services company. It's a complete standalone division of the company. It has no operational connection to bitbillions or the rest of our marketing side of things. It's an entirely separate division of our company, and essentially all it does is it builds software for clients, for third-party clients. It builds software, it manages software, it enhances software, it fixes broken software, it manages servers, it manages websites, it provides security services on servers, infrastructure, diagnostics, just tons and tons of different things that GBBG Wear does. And not one single person who's in our matrix has to spend a penny with GBBG Wear. GBBG Wear instead makes their money outside of the matrix. So GBBG Wear will go and, maybe someone will come to us and say, hey, I've got a taxi company, and I want to build a new software that helps my dispatchers to communicate with my taxis and tell them, where to go and who to pick up and where to drop them off and how much to charge them for that ride. And I want to have a system where someone can call in and say, hey, I need to take a ride from my house to XYZ restaurant. How much will that cost? And my operator types it into the software and it quotes them and sends them an SMS when the taxi's in front of their house, etc. So GBBG Aware would say, okay, and they'll package that together and they'll build that software and they'll deploy that across cellular infrastructure and server infrastructure and computer guided dispatch systems and taxi systems and GPS and whatnot. They'll build that and they'll support it and they'll host it if they need. You know, I mean, there's so many things that GBBGware does, and that's a completely different product. And that taxi service will pay GBBGware for doing all of that work, for supporting that infrastructure, for developing it, for providing ongoing support or ongoing feature enhancement for that software. And GBBGware takes that money that they earn and they turn it right over to GBBG, and GBBG pours a portion of that into our membership matrix and pays some of it to the founders, the co-founders, and the free members. They might develop software for a website. You know, some company might say, hey, we want to sell our widgets online and we want to build an e-commerce platform and we want to be able to have people all around the world come and look through our catalog of products and order them and calculate their shipping. And we want to get a notification in our inbox that says, Joe just bought a couple of widgets and we need to ship them here. So, you know, there's so many things that GBBGware can do. As a matter of fact, we have 3 very, very major projects that we're building right now. We have a handful of mid-level projects, and then we have quite a few little small projects. And I mean, we have projects all the way down to somebody has a 5-page WordPress website that they just want to, you know, enhance it with a better theme. You know, I mean, there's so many different services GBBGware is providing already, and that company is growing. We've actually doubled staff in GBBGware just in the last few months, and we're actually going to increase it by another third coming in April. So the company is growing, it's producing revenue, it's making money, it's profitable. And it has nothing to do with the membership at bitbillions at all. It's just money that's coming into the company from a completely different source, but that money will be shared with the members of bitbillions. So that's just one product line that GBBGware already has in place that's making money for the company outside of the membership. Another one we rolled out this month in March, and that is our premier marketing platform, our premier advertising platform. I'm sure most of you have noticed on bitbillions and My Bitcoin Rewards and Bitfeud and I Want a Car, over the last few weeks, you started seeing more banners start to be displayed on the websites. There's a banner in the top header of every website now. There's a banner over on the right column of every website now. There's a footer banner. And then also whenever you sign into any of these websites, there's a little ad that pops up. Those are ads that third-party companies are paying us money to place those ads on our website. You can actually go to the advertise page. If you look at, there's a little link under each of those ads that says advertise here. If you click on that link and you go to our advertise page, you can see how much we're charging for those banners. And there's outside sources, outside companies that are paying us money to place banners on our website. Now, we didn't want to launch these banners until we reached a certain milestone, and we've reached that milestone now. You know, it doesn't make sense, and I'm sure many of you have done this in the past. You know, you start out with a small blog or a small website. You know, you've got 4 or 5 people a month coming to your website, and you think, hey, I'm gonna put Google AdSense on my website, and I'm gonna get rich. And so you go and you download, or AdWords, whatever it's called, AdSense. You download their widget, you put it on your website, you sit back and you watch no money come in. And you're like, oh man, this doesn't really work because I'm not making any money. Well, the truth is, in the internet, the only way to make money when it comes to advertising or selling ads on a website is you've got to have a lot of traffic. If you don't have a lot of traffic, you're not going to make any money because only a very, very small percent across the entire internet industry, the average is around 2% of all people that ever see an ad will click on it. And then less than 0.5% of the people who click on it will ever become customers of the advertiser. So there's very, very, very small percentages involved in the effectiveness of online advertising. However, online advertising is very powerful and very profitable because of the sheer volume of some of the websites. I mean, if you look at a site like Yahoo, they deliver millions and millions and millions of banner ads every single hour across the world. Same with Facebook, same with, you know, a lot of these websites. So GBBG wanted to be in that, you know, in a certain category before we started marketing because we wanted to be able to sell banners for a rate that was worth selling banners and it would generate revenue for the business. So our milestone was we wanted to consistently, for a period of at least 3 months, we wanted to consistently have 1 million different users across all of our websites per month. And we wanted to be able to deliver at least 10 million banners, at least 10 million impressions every single month. Now, we're way above that. We're delivering way above 10 million banner impressions per month right now. And we've been consistently doing that for a few months now. So we crossed that milestone, and then we implemented Premier Banner Advertising. And now we're selling banners to third-party advertisers. And more advertisers are starting to inquire and ask us about placing banners. We're in discussions with a few pretty large organizations about placing some banners on an ongoing basis for more than just 1 month, maybe for even up to a year. And those types of contracts will generate even more revenue. So the company is generating revenue by selling ads, selling banners on all of our websites. And now as we roll out other websites or other earning sources over time, we will already have a built-in ad platform. We'll be able to market those ads to premium advertisers. And that's money that comes into GBBG completely independent of the bitbillions Matrix members. So the bitbillions members don't spend any money at all for those banners. We sell those banners to third parties. That money comes in, and we share a portion of that with our membership through the Matrix. So that's just another revenue source that GBBG has already in place, already generating revenue outside of its membership. Now then, let's go to the earning sources. Let's talk about those for just a few minutes. We have three earning sources that have been online now for several months. We have bitfeud.com, iwantacar.com, and mybitcoinrewards.com. I call them our click sites. Essentially, those sites are in place to do two things for the business. One is to generate external revenue through Premier advertising, okay, which you see the banners on those sites. We're selling those Premier ads to outside sources that generates outside revenue independent of our membership. The other is to generate revenue through the sale of internal advertising. In other words, membership advertising. And this is another aha moment. Several people who've listened to the last few webinars have emailed saying, wow, I never really thought about it this way until you said it. But I want to approach how to think about these websites. How many of you have tried to market a program before, or you built a blog or a website or a squeeze page or whatever, and you tried to get traffic to that page? So you go online, you look at how can I get traffic to my website. And there's millions and millions of different websites out there that will sell you traffic. You can go online and you can look. There's so many different organizations that I'll sell you, 100,000 guaranteed visitors to your website, or 1 million guaranteed clicks to your website, or 1,000 guaranteed signups, or whatever. You find these things all over the web. Just people promoting left and right to help people get traffic to their websites. Because when somebody has a website or somebody has some online opportunity that they're promoting or whatever, they want to get people to their page so that they can have a chance to sell to those people. So they go out there and they spend $100 or $500 or whatever, on running ads on all these click sites or these, campaign sites or these guaranteed click sites or these guaranteed sign up sites or whatever, trying to get traffic to their website. And there's several strategies for why you want traffic to your website. First of all, you want to push your website up higher in the Alexa rankings, because when your website increases in the Alexa rankings, it attracts other attention. It attracts more credibility from search engines, etc. So people try to push their traffic rankings up. So a lot of people will buy traffic from other sources just for that nature alone, just to get more traffic on their website. But the majority of people want more traffic on their website simply because they want eyeballs to see what they have to offer so they have a chance to make a sale. Well, think about it for just a second. If you have a website or you have a blog or you've got some opportunity you're promoting and you want to get thousands of people to see your opportunity, you can join GBBG for free. Go to bitbillions.com, join it for free. Go to any of our three earning sources, Bitfeud, I Want a Car, or My Bitcoin Rewards, pay $5, and put your link in our rotator, and thousands of people every single day are going to see your ad, and thousands of clicks are going to happen every single day, and you're going to get traffic to your website or your opportunity page or your squeeze page or whatever. That's the purpose of these three sites. It's a great marketing campaign for anyone wanting traffic to their website. So if you're looking for another way to promote bitbillions or to try to explain this to people, you can tell them, first of all, it's not an MLM. You don't have to pay anything. You can join for free. You could be a free member on bitbillions for life. You never have to spend a penny. You can still make money in our matrix because we're not an MLM. Okay? Number two, you've got a website you're trying to promote. Hey, join bitbillions with my ref link. Go to iwantacar.com, spend $5 and get a ton of traffic on your website. Don't go spend $100 for a guaranteed 1,000 bot clicks, because if you really investigate what most of these websites are doing, that's exactly what they're doing. They have some bot or some script set up on 10 or 15 different server farms, and they just send a whole lot of fake traffic to your website, and they tell you they delivered you 100,000 views. Well, yeah, there was 100,000 bots that viewed your website, but it really didn't do anything for you. That's why a lot of people don't repeat buy those traffic sites, because they don't get anything out of it, because it was just a bot. You can go to bitbillions, join up for free, go to iwantacar.com, pay $5, and get real eyeballs on your website. As a matter of fact, David Newman, you're on the call with me right now. You promoted stuff. How's it work for you?
Yeah, I basically have used it a bit with some ClickBank products, and over since October, which is pretty much when we had the sites launching and everything. And in that time, every day I'm getting several hundred views anyway. And because of that, I've also had sales. So I've had several $100s in sales from QuickBank products just using that.
So just paying $5 and you're selling several $100s worth of products through QuickBank.
Yep.
It's amazing. I mean, think about that, guys. That's exactly what these 3 sites are designed for. They're designed to allow people to get a lot of traffic across their website. So if you guys have some other opportunity you're involved in, I mean, almost everybody in bitbillions is interested in making money online. Most of the people are interested in 2 things: alternative currencies like Bitcoin and making money. That's the whole point of joining GBBG, is it's a way to earn some money online. Well, guess what? If you're involved in some other opportunity and you want to promote it, $5. $5. You can put your link in our rotator and you're going to get thousands of clicks. You know, it's that simple, and it's that cheap too. That's the crazy thing about it. It's only $5, and so that's the way you approach that. So if you're looking for an angle for how to sell this to somebody, if you know somebody who's got an opportunity or a website and they want more traffic, tell them, hey, I can show you where you can go get a lot of traffic on your website for $5. It's that simple. And of course, obviously, each of these earning sources has another built-in option or a built-in sweet thing, and that is you get points. You know, if you go click on ads and watch videos, etc., you get points. Those points go into the matrix, and then you'll earn money on that. We'll talk about the matrix here in a few minutes and how that's going to work. The other thing that you get is you get a chance to either win Bitcoins for free on My Bitcoin Rewards. You can win a car on I Want a Car as soon as those pools fill up. You know, I'm thinking sometime in 2014, maybe early 2015, we're going to give away our first car. I mean, I really can't wait for that moment. I think it's going to be so cool the day that GBBG actually goes and hands somebody keys to a car. As a matter of fact, we're planning to do that in a really cool way. You know, a representative of the company is actually going to go wherever that person lives in the world, you know, hopefully, as long as it's, you know, reasonable. But we're going to go where that person lives. We're going to go to a car dealership with them. We're going to buy them a brand new car, hand them the keys, take pictures of them getting their brand new car, and put it up on our website so everyone can see someone got a free car through iwantacar.com. You know, so there's sweet things built into each of these websites. But in my mind, the no-brainer is $5 for a ton of real traffic on your website. It's just, to me, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I remember back in the day whenever I was building websites and thinking, man, how am I going to get anybody to come to my website? You know, I wish I had a place where I could spend $5 and get lots and lots of clicks and push my Alexa ranking up, etc. You know, it's an easy sales pitch in my mind. Okay, let's go back to the matrix now. We've talked about ways that GBBG is already generating revenue. There's 3 things right now already making revenue. The company's already making profit. As a matter of fact, as a quick side note, any of you who read the last major blog post that came out know that in April we're putting out a new financial reporting system, or new transparency pages that are going to be way more in-depth than what we have right now. You'll be able to look at the actual financial transactions of every single transaction from every one of our earning sources and the bitbillions major website. So you'll be able to see every single member ID that's ever upgraded, how much they paid for their upgrades, every single transaction, every commission that was paid out, you know, every time we've done a flash sale on Bitfeud and who was paid and how much, every time we've given away Bitcoins on My Bitcoin Rewards and who was paid and how much, you know, and then what was left over and how much was transferred to bitbillions and how much went into each of the pools. So you'll have an exact item by item by item transaction display of every single aspect of GBBG's finances, you know, from day one until now. So there will be no doubt in anybody's mind about how much money the company's making, where that money's going, and the fact that there is money in every one of the pools sitting there waiting to pay commissions. Because I know that's another thing a lot of people have a question on when they first look at GBBG as well. You know, are they going to pay their commissions? Well, it's easy. Once we have this system in place, you'll be able to take your, you know, potential referrals to those pages and say, look, you can see every dollar they've ever made. You can see every penny they've ever spent. You can see them setting aside money in each of the pools. That money's sitting there. It's waiting. It's ready to pay commissions. So yeah, they're going to pay commissions because they got the money on reserve to pay their commissions. So it's going to be easy for you to market this product. I think the transparency pages that are coming up are going to make it a whole lot easier for people to trust and believe in and understand the financial condition of the company. But anyways, so GBBG is an organization that's building products that stand alone in the marketplace and generate revenue completely independent of the matrix. The matrix is designed so that we can build a membership of loyal customers that will help us to either buy these products as they come out, because some products that we release in the future might be products you yourself want to buy, and you'll either buy these products yourself or at the very least help us tell others about these products so that they can become, you know, successful in a fast start. You know, we want to be able to give each product kind of a launch pad each time we release it. So as products are released and they're selling and generating revenue out there in the industries, that money will come back in to, the sales that we make of our products comes into GBBG, and GBBG will distribute part of that money with our members. And the way we do that is through what we call the matrix. The matrix has a few different components to it. There's essentially three ways you'll earn money in the matrix. The first way is the revenue sharing pools. The second way is the matrix override, the matrix commissions itself. And then the third way is your direct referral compensation. So let's talk about each of those. The earnings pools are established so that there's three different pools. There's a founders pool, a co-founders pool, and a free members pool. The founders pool is full already. There's around, let's just round it off for easy numbers. There's around 3,000 founders completely in the entire company. Those 3,000 founders are there for life. They've been in as founders, and they never will change. They will always be founders. They'll always have their founder position for life. The next pool is the co-founders pool. There's right around 7,000 co-founder positions available. I think it's like 6,700 and something. I don't know the exact number, but anyways, so let's round it to 7,000. So there's around 7,000 co-founder positions available. And that's it. Forever and ever and ever, there's no more available. And then everybody else goes into the free member category. So what will happen when the matrix launches is this. GBBG will collect money from all the different products that it sells in different industries. GBBG where it makes money. We sell ads on all our websites. We have various products that we're selling, in different places around the world. We're bringing this money into GBBG, and then we put 10% of the money that we earn into the the founders pool. We put 10% of the money that we earn into the co-founders pool, and we put 30% of the money we earn into the free members pool. And then we share that money with the members based upon the total number of points in each pool. So think about this. In the entire history of GBBG, so let's say we go out 5 years from now and we have, 5 million, or let's say we have 10 million users for an easy math number, okay? So we got 10 million users or 10 million members of GBBG in the matrix, right? Out of those 10 million people, only 10,000 of them can ever be in the founders and co-founders pool. Only 3,000 can be in the founders pool. Those positions were given as gifts for people who made donations to the company in pre-launch. So anyone who made donations over a certain amount, they got a free founders position limited to 3,000 positions forever, okay? There's going to be 10,000 people who share the co-founders pool. The founders and the co-founders share the co-founders pool. So when there's 10 million people in GBBG and the company's making tons and tons of money, let's say it's making $1 million a month, okay? When there's $1 million a month coming into GBBG, there's only 10,000 people in the world that get to share that co-founders pool. There's only 3,000 people in the world that get to share the founders pool. So let's say we made $1 million in 1 month. We put $100,000 into the founders pool, and 3,000 people get to share it. Now, think about it. Let's say we have 5 earning sources by that time, and you can make 5,000 points per source, maximum, okay? So 5 times 5,000 is 25,000. The maximum number of points anybody could get at that point in time would be 25,000 points. So you got 3,000 people that can share the founders pool, and the maximum number of points that each of them can get is 25,000 points. So there's only a certain number of points that can ever go into the founders pool, period. So if you get the maximum points, you get the maximum amount of share that anyone can get in the founders pool. But let's say everybody just got 100 points, okay? So 3,000 people get 100 points, right? We're going to take that $100,000 and divide it by, well, you've got 100 points times 3,000 people. So you take that, that number, let me just do some quick math real fast. That's, what is that, 30,000 points. So $100,000 divided by 30,000 points, every single point in the founders pool is going to be worth over $3. So you got 100 points, you just made $300 as a founder, just in that one pool. Now then, same thing happens in the co-founders pool. Let's say GBBG made $1 million. They put 100,000 into the co-founders pool. Guess what? If every co-founder that could share it made 100 points, well, there's only 10,000 co-founders and founders total in the whole entire organization. So you got 10,000 people, and each of them made 100 points. Well, guess what? You've got exactly 1 million points. So you take that $100,000, you divide it by 1 million, and every single person in that whole entire co-founders pool is going to get 10 cents per point. Okay, you got 100 points, you just made $10. Okay, what if this company has $10 million in revenue? $1 million goes into the co-founders pool. Guess what? There's only 10,000 people in the whole world forever that can be in that co-founders pool. And the people who bother to take the time to get a maximum number of points are going to get the maximum share of that pool. Now then, here's the kind of bad news. The people who don't have the foresight to look into to getting co-founder and founder pool positions, they're going to miss out. Because think about this. If there's 10 million members in GBBG and only 10,000 people total can be in the co-founders pool, only 3,000 of those are in the founders pool, guess what? Everybody else, 9,990,000 people, actually all 10 million, because even the founders and co-founders share in the members pool. So if there's 10 million members, all 10 million people are sharing the third pool. So if we put $300,000 in that third pool, even if everybody just got 1 point, okay, $300,000 divided by 10 million is 30 cents a point. So guess what? There's not going to be a lot of money in that free members pool over time. I mean, well, there'll be a lot of money because over time we'll be making more and more revenue, but it means more and more and more and more and more and more people are sharing that revenue. Because the free members pool is where everybody goes forever after we finish the co-founders, after we get all 6,700 co-founders in our entire organization and we launch the business, everybody else forever goes into the free members pool. So the people who have foresight, that's the people that we are interested in right now. As a matter of fact, a lot of people ask over and over. People send us questions all the time to GBBG and they ask, are you guys going to start an email newsletter? Why aren't you guys sending out messages to everybody and keeping them active? I have 500 free members who've signed up under me and they're not doing anything. They're not earning any points, etc. I'll tell you a little bit of why we don't do that. GBBG has a philosophy, and that is you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's our philosophy. In other words, we're going to give everybody in the world the chance to make money through bitbillions, through GBBG, but we're not going to force them to. We're not going to force anybody to make any money. If they don't want to make money, that's okay. They don't have to. We're not going to force them to do it. What we're looking for right now, at this stage in the game, we're looking for 10,000 people that want to make money. That's who we're looking for. We're looking for the people that want to get in now and get co-founder positions and hang in there for the long haul. Think about it. It's $30 for a lifetime membership in a pool that will never be shared by more than 10,000 people forever. Okay? As a matter of fact, the really wise investors are the people who are picking up as many co-founder positions as they possibly can, because there's 10,000 positions, period, forever. So the more of those you have, the more share you have of that co-founders pool forever. Forever and ever and ever. Now let's talk a little bit about strategy on that. Quite a few people have asked me over time, what should I do? I've got 25 co-founder positions. I don't have time to sit here and click on ads all day, getting 5,000 points, in every one of my 25 different accounts. What am I going to do if I have 25 co-founder accounts, but 24 of them are basically dormant and nothing's happening? Well, let me tell you what we're doing. Our goal as a company is to make sure that our original core members, the ones who put the most faith and trust and energy and support into our company at the first, will always be rewarded. So if you're a founder, when we load the matrix, all the founder positions go in first. We load them up in order of when they registered. We keep them in their sponsorship line so that no one loses sponsors of any founders. So if you've got founders in your downline, those founders are going to stay in your downline, period, and they're going to be loaded into the matrix according to the date that they became a founder. So whatever day they became a founder, that's their founder date, and they go into the matrix according to that date, and they stay within sponsorship lines, okay? If you're a co-founder, you get loaded in next. So all the co-founders will get loaded after all the founders, and they go in the matrix underneath the founders, and they stay in sponsorship line, and they're loaded according to the dates that they became co-founders. So if you're a free member and you got some co-founders below you, guess what? When we load the matrix, those guys are jumping above you. You're going to go in under them. They're going to earn off of you, not you earning off of them, because they became co-founders and you stayed a free member. So all the co-founders go in next. Then we're going to load all the reserve members. There's not very many reserves. I think there's just a few hundred of them. But they're going to get loaded in next, and then they turn into free members after that. Essentially, reserve members are just people who made a small donation during pre-launch for the right to get loaded in before the free members. So that's what will happen. They'll get loaded next. They go in according to the date that they made their donation, and they go in according to their sponsorship line. They stay within their sponsorship line, and then they turn into free members. And then we load all the free members. All the free members go in, again, according to their date of reservation and according to their sponsorship line. Once everything's loaded in the matrix, here's what's going to happen. All the founder and co-founder positions are permanently locked in that place forever. period. Whether or not they get points, whether or not they earn any commission, whether or not anything happens on that spot, it's locked in its top highest position possible forever. Now, what I mean by that is we intend, after the matrix starts, to have a process of, what do you call it, David? Like squeezing out inactive, what do you call that?
Compression's the word they normally use for it. But we're looking at the options there because there has to be something there so that you don't have a lot of people under you that have 0 on there. So
That's right.
Whether it's squeezing them out or just counting the ones that have the points, that's a little bit to be decided. But
essentially what we're talking about, inside in management is this. Once the matrix goes live, there'll be a certain amount of time that an account can stay basically dormant. It doesn't generate any points at all. And after a certain amount of time, if that account's not getting logged into, it's not generating any points, it's basically a dormant account, we'll move it to the very bottom of the matrix. Our plan is not to ever delete an account, but it just will lose its position. Everybody else will move up and it'll drop all the way to the bottom. However, founder and co-founder positions will never be squeezed out, never be compressed, even if they're dormant. And here's why. If you've got 25 or 30 founder or co-founder positions, I understand you don't have time to sit here and click ads and earn points for every one of those. All it takes to qualify for override commissions in the matrix is 1 point. So all you gotta do is log into each of those accounts, once a month on I Want a Car, click 1 ad, you got 1 point. Okay, so that account qualifies for the matrix commissions, and it's got its point. And you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. If I had 25, 30, 50, 100 co-founder points positions, I wouldn't worry about 99 of them. I would worry about 1 of them right now. I'd be earning points in that one. I'd be promoting that downline link for that one. I'd be building the organization under the rest of my co-founders because they'll automatically go there according to the matrix, the way we load the force matrix. And then I wouldn't be worrying about points on those because they're never going to get squeezed out. Once the matrix starts, then you build up your revenue on one of your co-founders, your primary founder or co-founder spot, and then maybe pick one of your others and say, okay, I'm going to start working on that one. I'm going to start getting maximum points on it. I'm going to get it up to where it's making some money, and then maybe put it in the marketplace and sell it, okay? Think about this. Let's say 5 years from now, we got 10 million people in GBBG. 9,990,000 of those people are free members. They have to share in the free member pool forever. Don't you think some of those people would be sitting there going, man, I wish I had a co-founder spot, because then I could at least share in the co-founder and free member position. Or, man, I wish I had a founder spot, because then I could share in the founders pool, the co-founders pool, and the free members pool. Well, guess what? People who have multiple co-founders or multiple founder spots, you can sell those spots. They're locked in place forever. So if you've got a co-founder or an extra co-founder spot or two, and you build it up, and you've got a pretty good downline under it, and it's making, I don't know, let's say it's making $1,000 a month, would you sell it? How much would you sell it for? If I came to you and said, hey, you've got a co-founder, an extra co-founder spot, you're making $1,000 a month on it, I'll give you $3,000 for it. You're probably going to laugh at me and say, nah, I think not. I can make that money in 3 months and I don't have to do anything. It's in heck, 12 months now, I'll still be making $1,000 a month. Maybe I'll come to you and say, okay, I'll give you $30,000 for it. Okay, now we're talking, So think about it. If you've got extra co-founder spots, you've got all the time in the world to build them up and turn them into something and sell them or leverage them or keep them, pay some, pay some high school kid $10 an hour to click on ads for you on that spot and collect the commission from it. If it's making $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month, heck, you could easily pay somebody to come in, part-time on the weekends and fill up your 5,000 points and voila, that spot's making money. These co-founder and founder spots are limited forever. After they're sold, there's no more of them forever. So for the rest of the existence of GBBG, everybody goes in the free pool. Right now is the opportunity of a lifetime for people who believe in blockchain. Because if you understand that GBBG is building products outside of the membership, we don't need our membership to stay in business, period. We don't need to be sending out rah-rah emails every week telling people, join our downline, buy our products, be a part of GBBG. We don't need that because GBBG doesn't depend upon the membership to make money. We don't depend upon the membership to earn revenue. Whether or not we have a membership at all doesn't matter as to whether or not we will be in business, period. So if you understand that the future of GBBG is releasing more and more and more products outside of the membership that make more and more and more money that comes into the membership and gets paid to the membership for their points, then you also understand those founder spots, those co-founder spots are gold. They're money in the bank in the future because there's a limited supply of them forever. Once they're gone forever. So if you've got a handful of them, you've got a handful of them forever. And everybody else in the world after that is going to always want to pay you for one of those spots. They're going to wish they had one of those spots. So there's great money in the bank situation. So what we're looking for right now in GBBG, we're looking for people who have the ability to invest in themselves. People who have the ability to pay $30 for a co-founder spot and then sit back and wait, 6, 7, 8 months and then just start collecting money for the rest of their life. Why not? To me, it's pretty no-brainer. Okay, I think, David, if I missed anything, I think we've pretty well covered GBBG and the earning sources and the structure of the company and the matrix. Obviously, there's two other earning ways that you earn through our matrix. I can quickly go over them because they're pretty simple. And this is another reason GBBG is not an MLM. Another reason I always tell people, well, we're kind of an MLM, but not really. If you think about it, in a traditional multi-level marketing or network marketing company, the way you make money in the matrix is you got to constantly be getting your downline to spend money. If you're buying vitamins for this company and you've got a downline of people who are buying vitamins, then you're making commission because every time they're buying those vitamins, the company's paying you a commission because you brought in a whole bunch of people to buy vitamins, right? That's how these MLMs work. So if all your downline stops buying vitamins, guess what? The company stops paying you commission, right? GBBG is not like that. We don't care if anybody in your downline ever buys a single product from us ever. We'll still pay you for having a downline. How's that work? We pay you based on the points that your downline earns, whether or not they spend any money at all. So if you've got a downline of 1,000 people that are out there getting 5,000 points a month each, you get a 7% bonus of their points all the way down 7 levels, right? It's 3 by 7. So, you got 3 people below you going down 7 levels. So all those people underneath you, guess what? Every point they earn, you get a bonus and override on their points. Whether or not they ever spend a single penny ever, period, it doesn't matter. If they get points, you get an override. That's not an MLM because you're not out there having to tell people, oh, buy these vitamins, buy this blah, 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 buy this whatever. You're not having to sell something to your downline. We're not selling anything to your downline. We give you a bonus on their points that they generate. Okay? That's why we're not an MLM because nobody has to buy anything. Nobody has to spend a penny. You still get paid, and you still get paid on their points too. The other thing, the third way that you get paid is what we call a direct referral bonus. So the more people that you directly refer to GBBG, you get a 7% bonus of their points on an unlimited number of levels. So if you've got all your lines full and your whole entire downline here in 3 or 4 years, and heck, if you look at it right now, go to the homepage of GBBG, there's over 87,000 people in the whole entire organization. There's a lot of people in GBBG that already have an entirely filled matrix when we load this thing up. They're going to already have all their downline full. So that means if they keep sponsoring people and those people go on their 12th level or their 20th level below them, if they're a direct enrollee, they get a 7% bonus of those people's points forever, all the way down unlimited levels. So you've got your pool shares that you can earn. You can share in the founder pool, the co-founder pool, and the free members pool. You've got your matrix bonus, which is 7% override on all of the people below you, 3 by 7 levels deep. And then you have a 7% bonus on the points that are earned by everybody you personally enroll on unlimited levels. And, again, I'm going to say, it doesn't matter if any of those people ever spend a penny ever, period. All they got to do is get points. They can get those for free. And you get an override. You get bonus on that. That's, in my mind, the coolest structure I've ever seen a business put out because it's not dependent upon you guys spending money. And it's not, you don't have to go to people and say, hey, join this and buy these $60 a month vitamins and I'll get commission. And then tell your friends to buy vitamins and you'll get commission. That's not how it is. It's, hey, come get some free points and tell your friends to come get some free points and we all get some free money. Boom, period. Okay, so we got quite a few questions rolling in. So David, what do you think? Let's switch over to Q&A now on GBBG, and then we'll spend the last half of this webinar on preservation of wealth, which is the big thing we've got coming up.
Okay, there's not a lot of questions, but the first one that's here from Bradley is a good one that does come up quite often. What he says is, I'm a premier member on a few of the earning sites. Right now they go until April 20th, as in that's how long when it's expired. If I renew today, being that it's the 30th, does it just continue on after April 20th, or would it start again from today?
No, the way the system works is if you pay for a renewal today, it's going to look at your expiration date and it's just going to add a month to that. So like if you expire on April 20th, but you pay today, then it'll go 30 days again past April 20th. So it would go to May 19th, I guess.
So one thing with that as well is just expanding on that is we normally base it on about 24 hours for that as well, don't we?
Yeah, it takes about 24 hours for the upgrades, especially Bitcoin ones, because the way we're working our Bitcoin payments and even our PayPal payments, our PayPal payments are semi-automated, but they're still okay. We can't really automate anything right now, and here's why. First of all, PayPal payments have to first be converted into Bitcoins because we're a Bitcoin operating company, period. So if you pay by PayPal, we take your payment, we turn that into Bitcoins, then we send the Bitcoins through our own little payment processing system, and then the computer picks it up and processes it. So there's a pretty good delay in time. We've got it down to about 24 hours, but there still is time involved there because we have to first know that you paid by PayPal. We have to check that and make sure it's right, and then we have to take the money and go buy some Bitcoins and then send those Bitcoins through our processing system so that the computer processes your upgrade. Okay. If you pay by Bitcoin, it circumvents that first part of it where we're converting money into Bitcoins, but we still have to run it through our payment processor. And right now we're using a third-party payment processor, simply for security. We're trying to, until we have our own proprietary system in place that we're developing right now, because Bitcoin is so hacker friendly and so, it's just, there's so many security flaws throughout the whole entire Bitcoin world. Our core developers have the strategy right now of just spreading our Bitcoins in many, many different places we don't want to have one wallet that's got a whole bunch of Bitcoins in it. So we've got Bitcoins spread out in lots of different places. We keep most of them in cold storage. So we do a lot of manual Bitcoin processing. That's why it takes a little time when somebody wins the Bitfeud flash sale, because we usually collect all the flash sale winners first and then do one payout manually off of one of our cold wallets to protect our Bitcoin. So we're doing a lot of security protection right now on our coins. So when you make a payment, it takes at least 24 hours to process. Actually, we've got them down. Sometimes they're faster, sometimes they're a little bit slower. Most of the time it's in that 24-hour range, just because we have to go through several steps, getting those Bitcoins in, confirming that they're accurate, making sure there's plenty of confirmations on the blockchain, locking them into cold storage or whatever, and then telling the computer, go ahead and upgrade this account. So there's a little bit of manual work in almost every payment still. But yeah, we extend from whatever date your expiration would be.
Okay, next one was when you were talking early on about GBBG and what it stands for. Eric asks, is that the name the VIPs were privy to, or is there yet another name like the one you said you'll keep secret?
I think the VIPs know the original club's name, but we haven't made that public, and it's staying private. Mainly because, like I said, not all of the club turned into the corporation, and not all of the projects that were originally discussed in the club will be projects of the organization. So we want to let people who have, their own personal rights to certain intellectual properties or whatever, keep those rights. And if the club wants to continue functioning as a club, or if they ever want to do something else in that name, that's fine with us. I mean, basically, a small portion of the club turned into GBBG, and that portion is us, and we kind of broke away from the rest of it, simply because, we don't have millions and millions of dollars sitting in the bank, so we can't just go to everybody in that club and say, hey, you've got a great idea, let's produce it. Unfortunately, when it comes to developing software and software-related businesses, it takes a lot of upfront capital, and we have allocated the capital we have to the projects that we feel are the most, the things we feel like we can make the most success off of with the capital we have. I guess the best way to state that.
Okay, the next one's, it's more of a statement, but I don't know whether you know about this one. It's from David Palmer saying, and it was talking, when you were talking about the blockchain and what it can be used for in that, and he's saying that is what Ethereum is going to achieve with the same blockchain in law, foreign exchange, and so on.
Yeah, most companies that are going to build non-Bitcoin related products, whether that becomes a legal type of transfer product or medical imaging product or peer-to-peer internet, or voting systems or corporate share system. And there's so many different things that blockchain can apply to. Almost every one of those will develop their own proprietary blockchain. See, what blockchain is, the genius behind Bitcoin, the thing that people don't understand about Bitcoin is, the genius thing behind Bitcoin is a decentralized proving ground. In other words, because of blockchain, you can 100% verify and validate every transaction. And it cannot be refuted, period. And because of the rapid expansion of the mining pool, which all the mining pool is a system that verifies and validates transactions and creates the blockchain. Because of the enormous size of the mining pool in this blockchain, it's impossible for anyone to cheat it, essentially. I mean, there have been a few cheated, the malleability issue that came out, over the last several months, and it's been kind of fixed, and it will be fixed in the newest release. Those types of issues, anybody who's followed MT Gox and has seen the fiasco there understands that, there's a malleability issue that affected them, although the consensus is it really didn't affect them as much as they said it affected them. But essentially, there are a few issues with blockchain still, and they're being ironed out. But they're not problems with the core theory, the core function, the core protocol, how blockchain works. The concept of blockchain is gold. Now we just have to learn how to build applications that use it and use it well and very securely. So yeah, that's what Ethereum and all these other, proto shares, I mean, not proto shares, I forget the name of the crypto stocks, some of these altcoins like Dogecoin, Litecoin, Feathercoin. Well, actually, I can't say that. Dogecoin, Litecoin, Feathercoin are actually still are offshoots of the Bitcoin blockchain. But companies that are building entirely separate non-Bitcoin related blockchain type of businesses, they're building on the same protocol, the same concept of distributed, decentralized provability, which is what blockchain is the first successful application of this on Earth.
Okay, the next one I answered, and hopefully everyone can see the answer to it, was how does one get points, asked by Frederica. And I basically answered that with sending a video link. And the simple answer to it is the way you get points is by going onto the earning sources. First, you would have to activate the earning source. Then you go on the earning source and you watch the ads. And each ad, depending on if you're a free member, you get 1 point for each ad that you watch. If you're a premium member, which is $5 a month, then you would get 10 points for each ad. And there's also monthly limits on how many. You can get a maximum of 1,000 points as a free member and 5,000 points as a premium member. But the video link that I've put there shows you the whole process of activating the earning source and how you go through that, where you can see your points and all of that. So hopefully that'll help people. The next one is from Bradley again, asking, with the new product coming out soon, where will it make it very easy for the average Joe to get Bitcoins? Will they also be able to change Bitcoins to cash as well?
I can't talk a whole lot about the secret project just because we're trying to protect our intellectual property, but I can tell you that this product is going to make it easy for people to exchange not just Bitcoins, but any e-currency anywhere in the world, on street level, internationally, off the computer, on a computer, off a phone, on a phone. I mean, it's a really cool idea. It's a really cool revolutionary concept. And yeah, it's interchangeable either direction, from cash to Bitcoin, from Bitcoin to cash, from cash to Bitcoin to Dogecoin to cash. I mean, there's so many different ways it can work. And once it's released and people see it, they're gonna be like, wow, this is cool. It's why didn't I think of that? Kind of one of those kind of things. So there's a few people on the inside. I can tell you this much: when we have showed our concept, what we're doing to other people across the board, everyone has said this is the single greatest idea related to Bitcoin I've ever seen. I mean, we've had that response from everybody. So it's going to be cool. But I can't go into too much depth on what it is because obviously, another company with a lot of money could go and do it too. And we don't want that to happen. We want us to be the first ones on the market with it. And we want our 87,000 members to be the first people in the world to get out and promote it and make money from it. So.
All right,
looks like that's it for the, yeah.
So we'll move on to POW.
Yeah, let's move into the next thing, and that's a good segue into that. Guys, we have a new product on the site. We're going to talk about that here in a second, but I want you guys to realize GBBG is developing a core product, and that core product, we actually are developing a few core products. One of them may or may not have to do with a globally distributed, decentralized peer-to-peer internet, which is a really cool concept, and that's something we're working on and exploring. But the main core product that we're developing right now is definitely built around Bitcoin and the exchange of Bitcoins and payment of Bitcoins, et cetera. So you can pretty well, if you read the blog post, you can pretty well understand what we're building, but we don't want to say how we're building it because it's different. It's different from the way it's ever been done. But anyway, so there's some cool products that are coming out, and that's what GBBG is all about. Over time, we plan to release more and more and more and more products. I mean, I can see a day when, heck, who knows, 5-10 years from now, we might have 50 or 100 products on the market, in totally different, unrelated fields. And some of them might be attractive to some of our users, and some of them won't, and some of them will, like, for example, GBBGware. I mean, unless we just happen to have a member in our matrix that happens to also need software developed, then I could see them being a client of that division, but, probably not. So, there'll be products that come out over time the GBBG makes money off of, and you guys make money off of because you're getting points, in many, many different industries and fields and categories. And you don't ever have to buy any of them if you don't want to, or if they don't appeal to you. But I do want to talk about the one that has recently come up. preservation of wealth, which I'm sure most of you have seen on our site already. If you go to the earnings page, there's a new earning block. It's actually under the other sources. I think there's the 3 earning sources, and then below that there's the preservation of wealth, track my URL, and GBBGware box that talks about those 3 segments. And of course, I'm sure several of you have seen banners running on our websites promoting this new source. And as over the next few weeks, there's going to be many videos and audio files and other things coming out to help explain it. And we're going to be doing some external marketing to drive traffic to that particular earning source outside of our normal membership. So it's a pretty cool thing. But essentially, let's just talk about what it is and why it even came to be part of GBBG or part of our considered an earning source. Originally, somebody who's in the Preservation of Wealth network approached us, and the original approach was pretty simple. They wanted to buy banners on our website. They said, hey, you guys have, million customers a month, more than 1 million people a month coming through your network, and you're delivering, over 10 million banners a month. Heck, I got this program over here called Preservation of Wealth. I'm making really good money in it, so I want to buy a bunch of banners on your website. So that was essentially how it started. A very, very good marketer in their organization who's making a lot of money in their organization came to us wanting to basically leverage our traffic by buying banners, building a squeeze page and doing a marketing campaign. Well, as we started discussing that, the discussion went from, how much would it cost for me to buy banners on all your websites to how much would it cost for me to get featured on your earnings source page? And we were like, well, you can't really be on our earnings source page because that has to be something where GBBG can offer points to its members and it has to produce revenue for GBBG. And yeah, you're buying banners and that produces revenue, but it doesn't really produce any points for our members. So we started talking about how could that be possible. And long story short, it became a co-marketing arrangement. So essentially what's happened is GBBG has added Preservation of Wealth into its earnings category, and we have built our own team inside of Preservation of Wealth. So basically, GBBG has a position, a business position inside of the Preservation of Wealth membership structure, or their compensation, their binary compensation plan structure. And then we're also doing a co-marketing arrangement with these heavy, or I guess heavy hitters, power players, whatever, inside of their organization to run banner ads in many places. We're putting together a video thing. We're going to, over the next few weeks, a lot of really good marketing materials are going to come together. And then we're going to put a massive push outside of GBBG and inside of GBBG to this Preservation of Wealth product. And what we've done to make it a really sweet deal for the members is we packaged it up to where if you participate in this, you also get 5,000 points every month in GBBG, and you get to leverage the GBBG marketing network yourself. So, and this is what gets me really excited, and that's what I want to talk about right now. A lot of people who know me personally, David Newman and I are really good friends. We've been friends for quite a few years, and I've gone to see him in Australia. We spent a lot of time together in person. We're good buddies. So David, I don't know, he doesn't know me forever, but he probably knows well enough over the last several years, and people who do know me really well understand in the last 15, 20 years, I've done a lot of software development for a lot of online marketing companies, a lot of networking type of companies or whatever, and even offline multi-level marketing type of companies. I've been in software development for a long time, so I've done a lot of matrix algorithms and those types of things. But one thing that everybody who knows me well knows, I've never joined any of them. I've seen everything from Amway to Melaleuca to I don't know, you name it. Every single product that's ever come out, I've probably seen it. Someone's pitched it to me. I've looked at their website. I might have been involved in building the software that runs their website. But I've never joined any of them, ever. And here's why. First of all, I don't join the vitamin ones because I'm not a vitamin guy. So if somebody brings me a product that I'm just not going to use, I'm probably not going to use it, so I'm not going to buy the product, so I'm not going to join the MLM because I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy a box of vitamins I'm just going to throw away just so I can try to make some money off of selling vitamins. Just doesn't make logical sense to me. Second of all, as a person who's worked inside the industry from the technical aspect for a long time, one thing that I've learned about multi-level marketing companies is they all launch in a very similar fashion. And I have a couple of beliefs when it comes to multi-level marketing. The first belief that I have is there's not a single multi-level marketing company in the world that's better than any of the other ones. Unless it's a total scam, then it's completely not better because it's a scam. But if it's a company that's making a real product and they're paying real commissions and it's a real multi-level marketing company, designed and structured legally right and everything, and they're operating a real business, there's not one that's better than any others. People come to me all the time. Oh, I understand why you never joined Amway, but this is better than Amway. Or I know why you didn't join this, but this is better than that. And my straight answer is no, it's not. If it's a real multi-level marketing company and they're really paying commissions, they're all the same. They're a good business that's selling a good product and it's a good opportunity, period. And as a matter of fact, I also have another belief. I don't think there's a single comp plan in the MLM industry that's better than another one. They all have their pluses, they all have their minuses, but in reality, every single MLM company and every single comp plan in the entire industry can make people rich. Period. They all can. If you do the right things, take the right steps, and put in enough work in any MLM company in the world, you can make money. Period. And every single one of these legitimate MLM companies that has ever existed has made somebody a lot of money. Period. I've seen it happen in every organization from Amway to today. Okay? Every one of them has made somebody rich. Period. Because they work. They're all good. If they sell a good product and they have a good comp plan, they are all equal. Nobody's better than anybody else. So, if I believe so much in MLM companies and how great they are, why haven't I ever joined one? Here's why I've never joined one until now. The reason is this. I've watched how they all launch, and they all launch in almost exactly the same manner. First, they come up with a really good product and a really good comp plan and a good marketing strategy. And then they go out and they look around the world and they find top marketers, people who've already built big organizations, big networks in other organizations. And they go to those guys and they say, hey, you've got thousands of people below you in XYZ company. We will pay you to come in at the very top of our company and bring all your thousands of people and leverage that big network that you've built and help us get off to a great start. And so they go and they pick out a handful, 5 or 10 or whatever, and those guys are at the very, 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 very top. And they come in usually many months before the launch, and they get everything kind of structured, and they have a lot of backdoor closed office meetings, and they kind of handpick their top leaders. And, you know, I'm a very high marketer, so I'm going to bring my team, so I'm going to bring 5 or 6 of my favorite guys, and they're going to go in the top right under me, and we're going to do this big, massive campaign push. And the company's paying for it all because they know that these guys can bring thousands of people below them. That's how they all work. And so, knowing how MLM works and understanding that every single time these companies come out, usually by the time I've heard of it, because I'm not one of those top marketers who has thousands of people I can go and, you know, and bring in, they don't approach me. So usually by the time I have the opportunity to join, I have the opportunity to join with everybody else. After the big guys are already in and they've already handpicked their leaders, and now I'm the guy that's sitting in the audience watching the guy on stage who was an amazing success. But you know what? He didn't do what I have to do. What I have to do is I have to sign up and I got to go out there and work my butt off. I got to go tell people. I got to do all kinds of sales pitches. I got to tell all my friends and neighbors and relatives and guys I meet on the street and try to sell and build myself a downline, right? That's how most people have to work in the MLM industry. And if you do that, you can be successful. I mean, we've all seen the story of the guy who joined and he went and worked his butt off for 3 or 4 years and became rich. Okay, that's great. It can happen. But honestly, I'm too busy. I got way more going on in my life to go join some organization and add 8 more hours a day of work to my workload in order to try to become rich. So that's why I don't ever join these things, because I simply don't have the time and I don't have leverage. And I understand I've seen every MLM pitch under the sun, and they all come to me and they all say, the way you can make a lot of money with this is to leverage. And what they mean is leveraging a downline. You know, build this huge downline of people ordering vitamins, and you buy your vitamins, and you're going to leverage all these vitamin buyers, and you're going to make a lot of money, right? But truthfully, that's not what leverage is in network marketing. Leverage is what those guys at the top have. Those guys that have their networks that they've built over years, they've got lists of hundreds of thousands of people, they've got organizations of leaders, they've got a marketing, engine in place, and they can just turn it on. Those guys have leverage. That's why the companies go to those guys and say, hey, join up, we'll put you at the very top, we'll pay you, 100 grand or whatever to market this, and, we're going to explode, because they have a machine that they can leverage. So that's why they join that. Well, you know what? When Preservation of Wealth came and we started talking about this opportunity and putting this system together with GBBG, I was sitting there as an engineer, software engineer, who's working on the back end, the software, and I started thinking, this is the first time in history that we could build something where I can have leverage, and David Newman can have leverage, and, Joe Blow, who just joined tomorrow, or who's going to join tomorrow, position number 88,000 in the matrix, could have leverage. So why don't we build what all these top marketers always get to do in MLM companies? Why don't we build that for our members? So we started talking about it, and we came up with an idea for leverage, the real kind of leverage, where there's a machine that can help me build a downline. So I'm not having to sit out there 8 hours a day knocking on doors trying to sell everybody in my block, vitamins or whatever. So when I saw POW's opportunity, I had several things that came to mind that made me think, wow, this is the perfect deal. First of all, I like Bitcoin. I like Litecoin, I like Feathercoin, I like gold, I like silver, I like alternative currencies. I don't necessarily believe that much anymore in the paper currencies we're all using, because I believe there's going to be a collapse in finance at some point in time. It has to happen. Fiat currency can't hold itself up forever. Governments can't continue to increase their debt ratings forever. It's eventually going to collapse. So I believe in alternative forms of payment and alternative forms of storing wealth. And when I saw POW, I thought, wait, this is cool. It's a chance to buy gold and silver bullion at cost. It's a chance for me to collect highly valuable numismatic MS-70 coins, silver coins, that have value, hold value, and gain in value over time. If you look at these coins and you go back and do your research, you'll realize over time, they all increase in value. And if silver goes up in price or gold goes up in price, they go up in price because they're made from the stuff. So to me, that part is a no-brainer. It's silver, it's gold, it stores value, it increases in value over time. Voila. Okay, that right there is a winner. Second of all, it's a network marketing company built on silver and gold. So the product that I'm buying every month is something that over time gains value, not loses value. I'm not buying a box of vitamins that I'm throwing away. I'm buying a silver coin I'm gonna stick it in my safe, and 5 years from now it's gonna be worth more than when I paid for it. And then on top of that, I have a machine that I can leverage, and that's called GBBG. Global bitbillions is Global bitbillions Group Incorporated is building a leverageable machine, and we can build it such a way that people in our organization can leverage that machine too. So what we've done is we built a system where anybody who joins POW, Preservation of Wealth, through GBBG can send an email to bitbillions@gmail.com with their member ID number, their POW member ID number, and their link to POW, and we will put your link into a rotator. Now, as a software engineer, I worked on the algorithm, and so I understand how the algorithm is designed. The algorithm is designed so that every single member of GBBG over time gets the maximum number of personal enrollees necessary to qualify for maximum earnings. Okay? So in the preservation of wealth system, you have to have two personal enrollees, one on your right, one on your left, in order to have what do you qualify for, David?
You need one on each side for team commissions. Effectively, from that point on, you can qualify for up to, well, they say up to, I don't know whether they actually limit it, but it says you're then qualified for up to $2,500 a week in team commissions.
So $10,000 a month, basically. So $2,500 a week you qualify just for having one on your left and one on your right, okay? And then there's many more levels that come after that. You guys can go research that on, I'm not a rah-rah-rah salesperson, so I'm not going to bother going through all the, if you want to look at their comp plan, it's a really good comp plan, but I believe every MLM company that's legitimate usually has pretty good comp plans in place. So their comp plan is, after you start enrolling more personal enrollees, you raise up, they have like what they call, I think, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star consultants or whatever like that. You get different overrides, different, bonus team commissions. You get overrides on your team and all your own enrollees. And then eventually you work your way up to a point where you get $1,000 a month car payment, and stuff. So there's all kinds of cool bonuses built into their comp plan. But essentially, what we talked about at GBBG when we started this, and when we launched POW through GBBG, we said, how can we make it so that we have a truly effective, spillover plan? Because, I've seen lots and lots of MLMs and network marketing companies come out there and say, okay, join ours, it's a forced matrix, we have a spillover plan, people above you are going to be putting people below you, blah, 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 blah. And that's true. But if you really read the fine print, if you really look at how these things work, yeah, there's a guy up above you and he's a heavy hitter and he's putting a lot of people below you, but you're not making any money. And I've seen people who say, well, I've got a downline, but I'm not making any money. Well, there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because the guy up above you that put people below you, he's the enroller. He's the guy he's their sponsor. So, if you look at the way network marketing company software is built, every person has a couple of different identifiers. One identifier is who's the person that actually enrolled you. The second identifier is who are you under inside of the matrix, right? So a lot of times these MLM commissions and comp plans and qualifiers are built so that you have to personally enroll people in order to qualify for things. Well, if you're not out there personally enrolling people, you're not maximizing the revenue that you can get from all the spillover from people above you. So, and I've seen it happen to a lot of people. I've seen people build up, not even build a downline. Somebody builds it for them, but they don't make very much money because they didn't personally enroll enough people and keep those people active in order to earn the highest level of commission. So what we did with GBBG is we said, okay, let's build a system where we will make sure that our people get those personal enrollees. So what we do is we take your link, we put it into this 10 million banner system that we have going on, 10 million banners a month, million unique users a month, and we're going to roll it out and rotate it among all our advertising throughout the whole entire web. We're going to pour traffic in and funnel that traffic, but instead of GBBG being the enroller, or me being the enroller, or David Newman being the enroller, you're the enroller because it was your link. So if your link's in that rotator and somebody clicks on your link and they go through the sales page, or they even come to this webinar and they listen to me and they say, hey, I'm going to do that, and they click the green button and it's your link, Guess what? You enrolled them. That means you get the enrollment commission. You get the credit for being the enroller for that person. We're not just putting spillover downline into your organization. We're also giving you credit as the enroller, so you've got that locked in position. You can rise up in the ranks and you can earn higher and higher levels of qualification and you can earn higher levels of commission. But here's the other thing about that. In most spillover opportunities, or especially most co-marketing opportunities where they're rotating banners or they're rotating things, it's stuck in place forever. So if I join today and I put my link in the rotator, and then 3 years from now, my link's still in the rotator, I'm still getting, signups once in a while. I've been getting signups all this time for 3 years, but the guy who joins 3 years from now, he's way down the food chain and there's a lot more links in the system, so he's getting a whole lot less signups than I was getting 3 years ago when it was brand new, right? That's how most of these are designed. Well, we wrote our algorithm very differently. Our algorithm is written so that if I join today and I get a certain amount of personal enrollees, after I hit the threshold of I think it's 5 personal enrollees, my link starts dropping real fast in the rotation. It's still in there, but it's not going to be shown as much as the guy who joins tomorrow, and doesn't have any personal enrollees yet. His link's going to be in the rotation a heck of a lot more than mine. And then over time, mine will eventually get to where it's hardly shown at all, and then eventually get to where it's not shown at all. Because I've got all the maximum personal enrollees I need. I've got a lot of downline going. And then the company's theory is, hey, once we've got you to the point where you qualify for everything, you need to build your own business after that. We've put a lot of downline under you. You've got a lot of commission coming in. You're qualified at every level possible. If you want to grow it now, it's on you to grow it, But by that time, it should be pretty easy to grow it because you can go to your neighbor and say, look at my check. See my $30,000? Would you like to do this too? So we want to get everybody to that point, and we can't get everybody to that point if we just keep everybody in the rotation. So our system is designed to keep pushing personal enrollees down the line so that the guy who joins 3 years from now, his link goes in and it gets shown more and more and more than the guy who joined 3 years earlier and already has a maximum amount of personal enrollees. So the algorithm is designed to constantly rotate banners or links, but also constantly push out the people who are already qualified so that they're not getting a bunch of extra enrollees that they really don't need. We feel like, it's a more solid downline and a more solid potential earning for everyone if the people who join next year are getting personal enrollees. If a guy who joins next year jumps in and gets 2 or 3 personal enrollees and he's qualified for commissions, he's going to be a happy, consistent, solid down. He's going to keep buying his silver coin. He's going to keep earning his commission. He's going to tell his friends about it because we did what we told him we would do. We put his link in and we got him some enrollees. So that's what really excites me personally about this, and that's why for the first time in 15 years, I joined an MLM personally. I joined under GBBG myself because I said, wow, I can put my link in with the GBBG rotator. People are going to get to click on my link. And guess what? How long have we had this going, Dave? I think it's like 8 or 9 days now. I think that's right.
Yeah, probably
we started on the 22nd, right? Yeah, it was exactly a week ago.
Yep.
Okay, so 1 week ago, GBBG got into to preservation of wealth. We were doing some things behind the scenes to get to get this algorithm built, to put some banners together, and all that kind of stuff. And so I think I joined on the 24th or 5th. I think it was the 24th. From the 24th until now, I've gotten 5 personal enrollees. I have personally made enough commission that my $100 coin is free. I think I've made $300 in commission in 7 days personally. So basically my coin's free. And here's what's funny about it. When I saw this thing and I was like, hey, I'm going to join up. I like silver. To me, it's a no-brainer. It's a product that always goes up in value over time. So I don't mind investing $100 a month in silver because I like silver and it's going to gain value. And I started thinking, okay, if I can leverage this, because I'm not I'm not one of those big network marketers that can go bring 1,000 people in. I know that. But I said, if I could get a couple of guys in, and my link does good and a few more people join and GBBG can put enough downline under me, if I can get enough people under me that I can make $100 a month, I'm going to be really happy because basically that means my silver coin is free every month. That was kind of my personal strategy. I'm blown away. It's 7 days into this and I've already made $200 above the cost of my coin. So my coin is free and I have some money. So that's cool. I'm like, wow, this is working. I'm kind of pumped. I've never experienced something like that. And you guys can too. Anybody who joins Preservation of Wealth through GBBG can leverage the GBBG network. Now think about this. Right now we have 1 million unique users a month between all of our websites. Let's say 6 months from now we got 2 million people a month. Let's say a year from now we've got 5 million people a month. As GBBG's marketing power grows, Your link is rotated in all of that marketing power. You get to leverage that, and when people click on your link, we're not taking them away from you as a personal enrollee and making them an enrollee of GBBG. You're the enrollee. So, I mean, you're the enroller, so you get that direct enrollment commission. It's not for everybody, and it's kind of like every product that GBBG is going to put out over the next several years. Not every product is going to be for every person. You know, this is a product that only certain people are going to want to be involved in. But let me tell you, man, right now is the time to jump, because, I mean, I think there's less than 50 people total in the whole GBBG team so far. It's only been going for 7 days. So you've got that opportunity to leverage that forever. I had a guy that I talked to personally on Skype yesterday who'd seen it and asked me a few questions directly, a friend of mine, and he and I were chatting, and I said, you know, here's what I would do. I would tell myself, okay, I'm going to join. I think the $149, there's several different options for signing up. There's a $149 package. It's called the Associate and International Package. So if you don't live in the U.S., you have to sign up with that package. But then there's a $279 package and a $399 package if you live in the United States. The only difference between the 149 and the other two packages is the other two packages have the opportunity to buy gold and silver bullion at cost. So when the organization orders bullion from the mint, whatever price they pay for it, you pay that price. They don't mark it up at all. Obviously there's some shipping and handling involved, but the cost of your bullion is the cost they pay directly to the mint. So anyone who wants to buy bullion at cost, you know, you can go into those higher level categories, the 279 or the 399. And then the 279 package comes with a credit shield and a legal, kind of like a legal insurance plan. And the 399 package comes with those too. But I think, personally, I don't like the 279 package, because essentially all I'm getting for spending an extra $140 is the right to buy bullion and a credit insurance policy. I like the 399 package because I get the right to buy a bullion, but I also get a a very highly graded MS-70 rare coin, like a 1984 coin or so they send me an extra coin that's really worth money. And I get higher graded, an opportunity to buy higher graded coins. So I joined at the 399 level. I'm kind of one of the people, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do the maximum. So I did that. So I joined at the 399 level, and I got a 1984 Panda as my premier coin. And then I've got I have a couple other options in my back office to buy highly rated coins that other people don't have the opportunity to buy. So that's kind of one of the cool things about that package. But what I told my friend yesterday is this: the 149 package is a great package. It qualifies you for everything. You're a marketer. An associate. You can earn all the commission levels that I can earn, even though I bought the 399. So it's the best package for being an associate. You get a coin right away. They ship you an MS-70 coin the second you enroll at the 149 package. And then every month after that, you buy a coin. So I told my friend, I said, here's what I would do if I was thinking about this. I would say, okay, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to do the 149 package. I'm going to get my link into the GBBG rotator. And then I'm going to make a commitment to myself to buy one coin a month every month for 12 months. I'm just going to lock myself into a commitment. I'm going to say, okay, for the next 12 months, I'm going to buy one coin a month. You have to buy it on the option ship, by the way, in order to get the 5,000 GBBG points. So if you sign up and you don't get option ship, then you don't get your points. Even if you buy a coin, you're not going to get the points. So make sure you put yourself on option ship. Basically what that means is every month they just automatically send you your coin. That way you don't miss out on commissions or miss out on your coin that month. But anyways, I told my friend, sign up, put yourself on option ship, and stick with it for 12 months. You know, a lot of people don't stick with anything long enough to make any money. So stick with it for 12 months. Let GBBG do its job, rotating your link and bringing you in some downline. But then make yourself a personal commitment that every single month for the next 12 months, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get one person to join, myself. So one person a month, one coin a month, and let GBBG do the rest. And sit back for 12 months and do that, and let's talk again in 12 months and see where you're at. I guarantee you, with the marketing power GBBG's got going on behind this, the webinars we're doing, you know, all the stuff that we're about to do outside of GBBG, running banners on many other websites and squeeze pages and stuff, pushing everybody in through this and talking about this and pushing them to webinars that are specifically, you know, designed for this, and marketing material coming out for this. GBBG is going to fill you up a pretty good downline over a 12-month period. You know, if you've got a commitment to buy one coin every month and bring one person in every month yourself and just let GBBG do the rest, I'm pretty sure in a year, you know, at the very least, you're going to be getting a free silver coin every month. That's kind of what I said. You know, at the very, very least, that's my minimum acceptable standard. If I'm paying $100 for a coin and I'm making $100 in commission, I'm getting a free silver coin every single month. Hey, I'm cool with that. I'm happy for life. You know, I'm kind of one of those shoot for the lowest. You know, I'm going to shoot for the stars, but I have a minimal acceptable standard, and my minimal acceptable standard is one free coin every month. You know, which I've already accomplished that, and it's only 7 days, so I'm impressed. All right, Dave, we've got some questions coming in on this. Why don't we start to field some of those?
Most of them have been actually. The last one is, this one's relevant. Bradley asks, I'd also seen a lower priced affiliate program without buying a coin. Does this affiliate program part have any effect on GBBG earnings or any way affecting commissions in POW? I think he's
You mean the
talking about
$50
the $50 one. Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I can
Okay.
think
There's a $50 option, and it signs you up as an associate. Here's what I don't like about the 50, and it's a good option. I mean, it works. It's exactly like the 149 option. You're an associate, but here's the thing: in order to qualify for commissions, you have to produce 50 business volume, 50 points each month. Okay. So if you sign up with the $50 option, you get no BV, so you have no points. Okay. You still have to buy a coin in order to get business volume in order to qualify for commissions. And guess what? You got to buy that coin at maximum price. So you sign up for $50, then you have to buy a coin for $129. So you spend $179 getting exactly what you would have got for $149 if you'd have just done the $149 package. So that's what I don't like about that $50 package. But if you want to just like for example, it wasn't me, but one of the people who's in the organization that's in our VIP club came to me privately yesterday on Skype and said, "Hey, I got a really good friend. He really wants to get in preservation of wealth, and he wants to get in high, lock his position in, but he just can't do the 149 or the coin yet. He can do it like next month, after the first of the month, but he wants to get in now." So I told him, okay, just grab that $50 spot now, because that puts you into the tree, and you can go ahead and start rotating your link now, and then next month order your coin and upgrade yourself and whatnot. So if you're in a situation where you can't afford to get the 149 package or to buy a coin this month, but you want to go ahead and get in, then yeah, that $50 package is a pretty good plan for that. But if you want to start making commission right away, because see, Preservation of Wealth pays commissions weekly. So like if you jumped in this week at the $50 package and GBBG puts 5 or 6 people below you, or even 1 or 2, and you had a chance to earn $50 or $100 or something, if you didn't have DB, you're not going to qualify, so you're just going to miss out on that commission. So that would be the one downfall for that $50 package, is you'd have to get a coin in order to qualify for commissions. But I mean, it is what it is. It's a way to lock yourself into a position, and then once you order your option ship coin, the next month or whatever, then you qualify, and so then you'd be rocking and rolling on commissions. So, anyways, I hope that answers that.
Has anyone else got any questions? Because that's the only one that we've got up there at the moment.
No, I see. Well, let's just go through and answer them all. I see you've answered a lot of them, but we can go ahead and answer them out loud in case people can't see the answer in the typing.
The ones that are on there I put as pretty much I put them down as all, so they should have seen them. There you go. Here's
so you guys should be able to see everything.
Yeah. How does POW company pay out to members?
There's 2 ways that they're paying, and they're actually improving this, and we don't have an answer on their improvement yet. But if you live in the U.S. or Canada, I think they mail you a check. So I think they said they cut their checks every Monday, or no, it's the week after the week ended so like today's the end of this week's earning cycle. So they go Sunday through Saturday. Saturday at midnight they calculate your commissions, and then the next Saturday they mail your check. So every single week they mail checks out to everybody in the U.S. and Canada. Anybody outside of the U.S. and Canada, they have a credit card, a little like a preload, what do you call them, preloaded cards. You go to the marketing page, and there's a link there for that, and then you sign up with that, and they ship you a card. And what they told me, they actually told us to make sure people understand, if you live outside the U.S., shoot them an email. They have an email address inside the back office. Just shoot them an email and say, hey, hold my commissions until I get the card. And then they'll mail you that card. They'll make sure you get the card in your hands and you activate it and stuff. And then they'll just load your commissions right up on that card, and you can go to an ATM machine and withdraw, or you can just spend the card, go to the store and start spending it just like any other card. That's the situation they have in place right now. I've personally talked with people inside of Preservation of Wealth organization, and they told me they're working on expanding their international payout opportunity. They're looking at some different payment options, some different types of like international ACH, international debit cards, and probably, they don't know yet, but possibly even like PayPal or something like that, and maybe even Bitcoin in the future. So they're looking at different options for paying out, but they have a little bit of an issue, and I can completely respect this. Being somebody who's worked behind the scenes in network marketing companies, I understand what they're going through. Preservation of Wealth is, first of all, a gold and silver company. So that has a whole basket of regulations on it right there. Second of all, they're a network marketing company. So that has a whole other basket of regulations on it. So for them to get approved for doing like, PayPal and stuff like that, they're having to go through a ton of, they're just having to jump through a ton of hoops basically. So they're having to prove, a lot of things to these organizations, and it takes time for them to get approved. But they're on that process right now. They're in a process of getting several different payment methods approved to be able to receive payments and send payments. But right now they have a debit card that you can order if you're outside of the U.S. And if you're in the U.S., you can get the debit card, or you can just have checks directly mailed to you.
Okay, I'll give you a chance to get a drink. I'll fill the next two questions, David.
Okay.
The next question is, so if you got a few $100s within a week, should any of us who joined today, for example, make that money back within a month? I mean, it sounds almost like a sure thing. Basically, it should be, the way we're promoting it at the moment, we're getting a couple of members a day the last few days, probably a bit more than that actually.
I think it's up to about 5 a day now.
Yeah, so there is a very good chance, but obviously we can't guarantee that either. But the other thing is, what I've told people is, don't rely on the rotator to get personal referrals for you. You should be looking at trying to get personal referrals yourself, and then any you get from the rotator is really a bonus. Because you only need to get 2. Once you get 2, you qualify for up to $2,500 a week, and I don't think there's anyone in here that would be unhappy with being able to earn up to $2,500 a week. Obviously, over time, with the promotion that we're going to be doing and with the numbers of people that we're promoting it to, it is going to grow, and I would expect that pretty much if everyone in this room who isn't in join now, over time they will get those members in there. How long that takes, that's anybody's guess. But if you look at it the way David was saying, you're effectively building an investment anyway. Even if you only got the money back for the coin and were just making that money back, then you've still built an investment that's worth money to you. You could go down and, if you really had to, you could go to a dealer or something and cash that investment in. The other thing there is the direct referrals. If you have, it's a little bit different. They've actually got 4 different payments for referrals, and there's a direct referral from the USA if they're getting the 149 pack is separate. The 2 other packs for the USA, if you get a direct referral on any of them, you're actually going to get $100 back. So that's pretty much the cost of the coin straight back in one go. If you have a direct referral that has somebody gets in under them from the USA, you get $50. So there's straight away, if you got one in that got one in and they were from the USA, you've got $150 back straight up. The international ones on that $149 pack, the commissions for that one is $15 and $10. I'm not sure on the reason it's as low as it is, and we've talked to them about seeing if they can get a different pack so there is a higher commission, but that's what it is currently, so that's what we've got to work with. But especially in the US, if you have some people that join from the US, you can make more than the money you put into it very quickly. So is it a sure thing? Well, it's probably about as close as you're going to get. You still need to get 2 direct referrals in to qualify for the team bonuses. But even without qualifying for the team bonuses, if you get one direct referral, you're going to get something back, depending on whether it's
David, one thing I just thought about while you were saying that is,
yep.
Think about this. Okay, the company offers a 4-year 100% buyback guarantee on all the coins. Okay, yep. So that means if you buy a coin today for $100, then for the next 4 years, they guarantee to buy that coin back from you for $100. It's a 100% buyback guarantee for 4 years. So there's no risk, period, in the coin. Even if silver dropped to 10 cents an ounce, which we know it's not going to, but even if it did, and these coins fell to $20 a piece or something like that, you can sell it back to the company for $100 for up to 4 years. So think about this. If you joined today and you bought a coin for $100, or even if you did let's say you did the 149 package, so that you got your coin, you're qualified for commissions and everything, right? You get 2 personals in a month. Okay, even if they're both at the 149 package, you're going to get $30 right off the bat from their enrollments. So you got a $100 coin, you get a $30 commission, so you spent $70 for your coin, and you can sell it back for up to 4 years to the company directly for $100. So you've made $30, so you're $30 in the profit, and you got a coin in your hands, that you can sell for $100.
Yeah, and that's based on it not actually improving in value over that time.
That's right.
So, okay. The next question is, any other similar programs like POW that GBBG has come across and possibly going to be added to the GBBG family? That's something that has been looked at, and the main reason that's been looked at is pretty much looked at the same time as POW was, because POW is a fairly, I would call it a high entry, because over $100 for most people is high entry, and especially on programs like GBBG where you've got 87,000 free members, they're more than likely people that, a lot of them probably haven't got $100 to spend. So it has been looked at on possibilities for a similar sort of thing at a lower entry. There has been a couple of things looked at, but there's nothing determined. But it's likely that there may well be another one at some stage. Can't say when that will happen, but it's likely that if there is another one, it'll obviously have to be a company that there's enough trust in, that it is a legitimate company that has something that's worthwhile to members and is going to be beneficial to members. So that's the sort of things that get looked at. It's not GBBG's intention to go in and do what a lot of the big marketers do and just go, rightio, here's a company we can make a quick buck off. Let's just do that, run through with that one for 6 months, and then we'll jump onto another ship. That's not the intent at all. So any companies that we do look at partnering, I suppose, if you want to call it that, or even doing a team build in, will have to be something that they're very confident are going to be sticking around and are going to be a benefit for the members.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons preservation of wealth is in there is because it lines up with our core, thinking as a company. I mean, we are an alternative currency, alternative store of value type of company, and silver and gold is too. Silver and gold is the oldest form of alternative stored value in history. At one time it was the currency of people. So, because as a company we are focused on e-currencies, alternative currencies, that type of stuff. I mean, it just kind of made sense. Gold and a lot of GBBG people invest in gold and silver because they're alternative currency type of thinkers as well. So it just kind of made sense. And I think if GBBG ever did anything else like this, it would have to be something that lines up very well with our organization.
Anyone else got any questions?
I don't see any more coming in, and we're right at the deadline of our timing. Guys, before we start to wrap up, I just want to say to everybody, first of all, thanks for coming and being involved. We had a really good turnout on this one. We need to tell more people about these. I'm sure a lot of people aren't even aware we're doing these webinars because we just started it. So we're going to keep doing webinars throughout the next several weeks and letting people know more and more information and trying to answer as many questions as we can. Like I said, we're going to be putting some audio and video things up and some other marketing materials up over time as well, and a FAQ page on all the sites to start helping people to get better information about GBBG and all the earning sources and preservation of wealth thing. But if you have any suggestions, if you know ways we can make these webinars better or more informative or anything, feel free to send an email. We've got the support at bitbillions.com. We've got bitbillions@gmail.com. Just jump on our website and click on our contact link, and send us an email. Let us know how we're doing, what we can do to improve things, etc. And then I guess that's about it. So if you guys don't have any further questions, we'll wrap up pretty soon, but we'll stick around for a few minutes if you want, just if anybody has a last minute question or whatever too. So David, do you have anything else you want to add?
Or I think we've pretty well covered everything. I think it's just a case of the people just need to realize that, GBBG's been around a while now, and the main thing that gets asked from me is on the points, why we're not paying for points, which we went on a bit before about. And just for the people that are here, make sure you pass on the information to your referrals and that as well. I'm sure quite a few of the people here have got a big amount of referrals, and the big thing is know the information yourself so that you can pass it on to your referrals and educate them and teach them to pass the things on to their referrals as well. Bradley's just asked a question, with Bitcoins dropping in price, does that affect GBBG's value as a company as well?
Not really. As a matter of fact, we like it when Bitcoins drop in price because it does two things for us. First of all, we can acquire more Bitcoins cheaper because we feel like they're way undervalued right now. And second of all, when people pay us, they actually have to pay us with more Bitcoins. So as Bitcoins go back up, we have a little bit more in our holding tank. So I think Bitcoin's dropped right now for a couple of reasons. We've got the empty box issue. We've got a couple of exchange issues. There's a few countries, China's kind of on a little question on what's going to happen there in the next week whenever their central bank finally makes its ruling. I'll tell you why I think the Bitcoin price is dropping and possibly will continue to drop for the next 30 to 60 days. I think it has a lot to do with the IRS ruling that just came out in the U.S. When I saw the IRS ruling and I realized how the IRS has made its official position on Bitcoin, especially having to do with miners, I started thinking, whoa, what about these guys who've mined like millions of coins and they're sitting on millions and millions of dollars? Now all of a sudden they just got a letter from the IRS saying you got to claim that property this year, April 15th. I mean, we're talking 15 days from now. These guys have to pay, self-employment tax on that mining asset. And anybody who's on this call who hasn't thought about that, think about it. If you've mined coins and you're sitting on top of coins and you live in the U.S., you've got to pay, you got to claim that as self-employment income and pay tax on it on the 15th. So I think what we're seeing right now, and we're probably going to see this over the next several months, is some people in the U.S. that are sitting on some pretty big stockpiles of coin. They're going to sell a bunch of them, and that's going to drop the price because suddenly the market's going to get flooded, with a lot of coin. The price is going to keep coming down, and it kind of helps these guys two ways. As long as the price is coming down, they're claiming a lower value, so they're paying a lower tax. And second of all, they got to turn some of these coins into cash so that they can pay that tax because the IRS doesn't accept Bitcoin, it accepts money. So if I'm sitting on 1 million coins and I suddenly got to pay, 200,000 coins worth of, taxes, well, I got to turn those coins into cash so I can pay that tax. So I think we're going to see, I think the IRS ruling is going to have a little bit of a negative effect for probably a 2 to 3 month period on the price of Bitcoin, but I think it's going to have a long-term, very positive effect on Bitcoin overall because for the first time in history, every single Bitcoin-related company in America can now legally go to the banks and the government and say, here's exactly how Bitcoin is structured. Here's exactly how our government's going to treat it. Now we can operate exchanges. I think you'll see New York and California coming on really strong in the next few months, opening up, letting people open exchanges. I think banks will start to actually accept Bitcoin businesses in the States. I think the States is about to be a big positive improvement on Bitcoin because of the IRS regulation. However, I really feel like that IRS regulation is already having a major downturn on the Bitcoin price, and it probably will for a little while simply because suddenly a lot of people owe a lot of tax that they probably didn't think they owed until now.
Eric says he's not reporting his mining to the IRS, but he does agree it'll help Bitcoin overall.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley says, how can China control Bitcoin if it all decentralized?
It can't control Bitcoin, but it can, guys, here's what you have to think about. A government can make it illegal, and so if China does come out with a law that says it's illegal for anybody in the country of China to have Bitcoins, that's going to, first of all, make a big dent in the Bitcoin industry because a huge portion of the Bitcoin industry is in China. And I think the biggest exchange going right now is in China. So, there's some pretty major things that could affect. But, some people will probably still hold Bitcoins and have them, but, they're taking a risk because if the government found out they had them, they can go to jail. There is ways. You can't control Bitcoin, but a government definitely could come out and say, anybody inside of our country who's found to have Bitcoins is going to prison for 50 years. And suddenly a lot of people in that country aren't going to want to have Bitcoins, you see. So I think that's how it could affect it. But I honestly don't think China's going to go that extreme because I think they have to also understand that, Bitcoin it's going to change banking on the globe. And if China wants to be involved in international banking in 10 years from now, they're going to have Bitcoin, because it's going to be, I think 10 years from now, Bitcoin is going to be a major, or some sort of a blockchain type of situation is going to be a major, foundation of international banking. So I think a lot of governments they don't really know what to do right now because they understand, or they better be thinking about the fact that if they make it illegal, they basically just cut themselves out of the international finance system 10 years from now. So, we got any more?
There's nothing more at the moment, unless, I think there's actually a couple of people came in late there. They haven't put up a question.
All right. Well, we got another webinar later today and another one tomorrow. We got 2 more tomorrow, right? So,
depends on whereabouts in the world people are.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. So if you guys missed out on anything or you got here late or something, you can always jump in on those next couple. We got one tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock p.m. So, we'll be ready and we'll try to do same thing. We'll try to, go over every single thing, every aspect of GBBG and this new preservation of wealth opportunity and answer any questions. So thanks a lot for coming, guys. Any more questions there, David, or are we done?
Aileron just said that it's recorded and he'll post it on the forum. So this
Oh,
one
cool.
will be posted on the forum. So
Cool.
for those that did come in late, if you want to get on and listen to the earlier parts of it, it'll be somewhere on the forum.
Okay, great. That'll be good. Maybe we can put a link to that or post that up on the website too to let people know so that they can go listen to them too. All right, guys. I know we've gone over a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure we got everybody's questions answered. So thanks a lot for attending. We're going to go ahead and close down now, and we'll have more webinars coming up. And please send us feedback if you guys have any suggestions. If you think of anything that you didn't think of during the webinar, you can always send an email to support, and we'll get those handled as fast as we can. So thanks a lot, guys, and you guys have a great evening. What, Dave?
Let your referrals know about the webinars as well, because it can help them.
Yeah, definitely. It can help you build your business by sending your referrals here. You know, that's our job. We want to make sure that we're making your business as strong as possible, guys. So yeah, tell your referrals about it.
As well as any new people that haven't joined.
Mm-hmm. True. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. We'll see you guys at the next webinar.
See you later, guys.